There is something nobody talks about, honestly. The person working 2 jobs to pay rent often understands money better than the person who owns the building. They know compound interest. They know diversification. They know exactly what they should be doing differently. And yet somehow the knowledge never closes the gap. If you have ever felt like you understand wealth better than your financial situation suggests you should, this video is for you. Because the middle class was never kept broke by a lack of information. It was kept broke by 7 specific secrets that the people at the top understood and never passed down. Machiavelli documented all 7 of them 500 years ago, while sitting inside the most powerful government in Renaissance Europe, watching how money actually moved between people. Not how books said it moved, how it actually moved. And the people who have read him carefully have been using what he found ever since. Today you find out what they found. Stay for secret number 5. Most people have never heard it framed this way before, and once you do, you will never look at your expenses the same way again. Let us begin. Secret number 1. The visibility trap. Here is something almost nobody teaches you about money. The more visibly successful you appear, the harder it becomes to actually become successful. Think about someone you know who recently got a raise or a promotion. Within a few months, what happened? Better car, nicer apartment, more expensive habits. The income went up and somehow the savings stayed exactly the same. Be honest with yourself. Has this happened to you? You earned more. You spent more. The gap between where you are and where you want to be stayed exactly the same size, just with better furniture around it. Now think about someone else. You have probably met this person without realizing what you were looking at. They drive an ordinary car. They live in a reasonable home. Nothing about them screams success. You might have even felt slightly sorry for them. Then one day you find out they have been quietly building something for 15 years. And now they have more real financial freedom than anyone in your social circle who looked wealthy the entire time. That is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. Cosimo de' Medici controlled the finances of kings and popes in 15th century Europe. When he walked through Florence, he wore the plain robe of a common worker, not because he could not afford otherwise, because he understood something most people still refuse to accept. Machiavelli documented this pattern across every powerful figure he studied. He wrote in The Prince that the ruler who displays strength invites others to test it. Visibility is not power. Visibility is a target. Here is the uncomfortable question. How much of what you spend every month goes toward looking like you are doing well, rather than actually getting there? That gap between performing wealth and building it is where most financial futures quietly disappear. The shift is simple but hard. Stop letting your visible life tell the story of your income. Start letting your bank account tell the story of your future. Because the most financially free people you will ever meet are the ones you currently know nothing about. Secret number 2. The loyalty tax. Let me describe something that has probably already cost you more money than you realize. Think about the last professional arrangement you stayed in longer than the terms deserved. Maybe it was a job that underpaid you for 2 years while you waited for things to get better. Maybe it was a client relationship where you kept discounting your rate because of the history. Maybe it was a partnership where you were doing 70% of the work and splitting 50-50 because you did not want the awkward conversation. How much did that loyalty cost you in real numbers? Now think about someone else you know. They left a comfortable position earlier than felt comfortable. People thought they were making a mistake. They went through a difficult transition. It was not easy and it did not look smart from the outside. 2 years later, they had negotiated their income up significantly because they had options. And options change everything about how you carry yourself in any room. Machiavelli was direct about this in The Prince. He described rulers who depended entirely on the loyalty of others without developing independent capabilities as permanently vulnerable. Not because loyalty is wrong, because loyalty without leverage is just dependency with a nicer name. Here is what behavioral economists have found that makes this trap so powerful. People consistently overestimate how much their loyalty is reciprocated by institutions. We apply the logic of personal friendships to organizations that operate by completely different rules. And when conditions change, the organization responds to its incentives, not to your history. Be honest with yourself. Is there a professional arrangement in your life right now where you are the most loyal party and the terms have not reflected that loyalty in years? The goal is not to burn what exists. The goal is to build something real alongside it. One developing opportunity, one growing skill the market values outside your current situation. One genuine alternative that exists before you need it. Because the moment leaving becomes a real option instead of a theoretical one, everything about how you negotiate changes. Not because you say anything different, because you feel different when you walk in. Secret number 3. The research prison. Here is a trap that only catches intelligent people, and it catches them precisely because they are intelligent. Think about an opportunity you recognized clearly. Maybe it was an investment category. Maybe it was a skill worth developing. Maybe it was a business you could see yourself starting. You understood the opportunity. Your instinct was right. Then you decided you would fully understand it before you moved. So you researched. You watched videos. You read the books. You compared the options. You built a plan. Then you found a flaw in the plan and improved it. Then you found another flaw. Then you wanted to make sure you had not missed a better approach, so you researched that one too. Be honest with yourself. How long ago did you first recognize that opportunity? Now think about someone who heard about the same thing during a casual conversation. They did not read everything you read. They did not understand the details the way you understood them. They simply knew enough to begin. So they started small, made mistakes, fixed them based on what actually happened rather than what they predicted might happen. 3 years later, they are miles ahead. Not because they were smarter, because they started sooner. This is what Machiavelli meant in chapter 25 of The Prince, when he argued that fortune favors boldness over excessive caution. Opportunity has never paused because someone was still comparing options. Here is the part that nobody likes hearing. The first years of any compounding process are the most valuable ones. They have the most time to grow, which means the years you spent researching were not just delayed. They were the most expensive years you had to start. The shift is not to stop learning. It is to start giving yourself deadlines to decide, rather than deadlines to finish understanding. Because readiness is one of the most expensive lies intelligent people tell themselves. Nobody feels ready before they begin. Readiness appears after action. It has never appeared before. Secret number 4. The neutrality illusion. This one is subtle, and by the time most people recognize it, years have already disappeared. Think about the last time you needed to make a significant financial decision, but every option seemed to have real downsides. Stay in the stable job or pursue the riskier opportunity. Keep the capital in savings or deploy it into something that could grow. Maintain the partnership or end it and face the disruption. Your intelligence could see every angle. Every side had merit. Every choice had risk. So you waited. You hoped clarity would arrive on its own. It usually does not. Machiavelli wrote about this pattern directly. He observed that a ruler who attempts to remain neutral during conflict usually loses the support of both sides. The winner never trusts the person who did not stand with them. The loser cannot protect the person who did not stand with them either. The person standing in the middle eventually discovers they are standing there alone. Here is the psychological truth underneath this. A wrong decision made and corrected is almost always less damaging than the right decision that was never made at all. Because a wrong decision gives reality something to respond to. Neutrality does not. Think about someone you know who makes decisions faster than feels comfortable to watch. They are wrong sometimes visibly wrong. But they recover because they moved, and movement gives you information that waiting never provides. The shift is this. When you are frozen because every option seems reasonable, treat that feeling as your signal, not your excuse. It means you have enough information to decide. You are just afraid of being wrong. Pick a direction. Commit. Adjust when reality gives you better information than your planning ever could. Because silence is not avoiding the battle. Silence is choosing defeat one quiet day at a time. Secret number 5. What you spend on maintenance vs. what you spend on growth. Picture two people 5 years from now. They started in the same place, same income, same rent, same general situation. One of them spends the next 5 years allocating a meaningful percentage of every paycheck into things that grow. Investments, skills that command higher rates, assets that appreciate, infrastructure for something they are quietly building. The other spends the next 5 years maintaining a lifestyle that requires their full income to sustain. They are not irresponsible. They are not reckless. They simply have almost nothing left over each month after their expenses are covered, because their expenses grew with their income every single time. 5 years later, they earn the same amount, but they are in completely different financial positions. This is what Machiavelli described when he wrote about rulers who converted resources into durable influence versus rulers who spent their resources maintaining their current position. The maintainer was always one disruption away from starting over. The builder had created something that the disruption could not easily dismantle. According to Federal Reserve data, the top 1% holds approximately 30% of all national wealth. The bottom 50% holds roughly 2.5%. This gap has widened over 4 decades, a period during which the advice given to ordinary earners remained essentially unchanged. Here is the uncomfortable question. Of every dollar that comes in this month, how much is going toward maintaining who you are right now versus building who you will be in 5 years? Most people, when they actually calculate this honestly, find that almost everything goes to maintenance. The shift is not dramatic. It does not require a perfect plan. It requires a percentage, any percentage, allocated before the maintenance costs arrive. Not what is left over. The first allocation before anything else. Because the gap between the person building and the person maintaining does not feel significant in month 1. It feels enormous in year 5 and irreversible by year 15. Secret number 6. The information asymmetry tax. Every negotiation you have ever participated in was decided before either party spoke. It was decided by who knew more about the other person's real position. Think about the last time you negotiated something that mattered. Your salary, a contract, a significant purchase. How much did you know about what the other side was genuinely capable of offering versus what they were willing to say they could offer? Now think about how much they knew about you, your current situation, your real alternatives, how much you needed this particular outcome. That gap in information determined the result, not your qualifications, not your merit, the information asymmetry. Machiavelli wrote about this through the fox and lion distinction in The Prince. He argued that direct confrontation exposes your position completely. Intelligence, meaning what you know and what you control about what others believe they know, is what determines outcomes before force ever becomes relevant. Here is something Carnegie understood better than almost anyone. When he sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan for approximately $480 million, Morgan agreed to the price almost immediately. Carnegie later said it was the only negotiation he regretted. Not because he received too little, because Morgan's speed revealed that Carnegie had underestimated what Morgan would have paid. The lesson is not to be deceptive. The lesson is to understand the other party's real position before revealing your own. To know their ceiling before they know what you need. To ask more than you answer in every room where money changes hands. Here is something practical. Before your next significant negotiation, find the answer to one question the other party assumes you do not know. Their real ceiling, their hidden urgency, their genuine alternatives if this does not work. Walk in knowing that one thing. Reveal nothing about your own position until you have heard theirs. The party who speaks first at any pivotal moment almost always shapes the terms in favor of the party who waited. Secret number 7. The ceiling you built around yourself. This is the one that matters most, and it is the one most people are closest to breaking through without realizing it. Picture yourself 10 years from now. 2 versions. In one version, you kept doing what you do now very well. You got better at it. You earned more because of it. You hit the natural ceiling of what one person doing one thing can earn, and you spent those years bumping against it, trying to find a way through that does not exist. In the other version, something changed. You built something alongside what you already do, not instead of it, alongside it. Something small at first, something that did not require you personally every time it produced value. And over 10 years that thing compounded. Not dramatically, quietly, until one morning you woke up and your financial situation no longer depended entirely on how many hours you personally showed up. That is not a fantasy. That is the mathematical result of building something that compounds versus selling something that resets every month. Machiavelli wrote across The Prince and his discourses about the fundamental difference between power held by individuals and power held by institutions and systems. The individual is limited by their presence, their health, and their time. The institution continues independent of any single person. The Republic of Venice sustained economic dominance for roughly 5 centuries. Their arsenal shipyard could complete warships at speeds contemporary observers found almost unbelievable. The leadership of Venice did not build those ships. They built the system that built the ships. Then they focused on strategy and expansion while the machine ran without them. Be honest with yourself right now. Is there one thing in your current work that someone else could do with the right documentation and training? One process that could run without your personal presence every time? Start there, not with a grand vision, with one extracted task. One thing you build so it runs without you. Because the day your first system produces $1 without your direct involvement is the most important financial day of your life. Not because of the dollar, because of what it proves is possible. And once you prove it, once you will keep building until the machine runs itself. Now we are back where this started. The middle class was never kept there by a lack of intelligence or effort. It was kept there by 7 specific patterns that the people at the top understood and the people in the middle were never shown. Visible success instead of silent accumulation. Loyalty without leverage. Research without action. Neutrality that feels like wisdom. Money going to maintenance instead of growth. Negotiating without information. Building a career instead of a machine. Machiavelli watched these patterns from inside the most powerful government of his era and wrote exactly what he saw. Not what he wished were true. What was true? The uncomfortable part is that he died relatively poor himself. Not because he lacked the knowledge. Because knowing and moving are 2 completely different things. You now have the knowledge. The only question left is which one of these 7 you are going to do something about before this week ends. Not next month. This week. Because 10 years from now, you will either look back at this moment as the one where something shifted, or you will wonder why you always seem to understand more than your financial situation reflected. The gap between those 2 futures is not intelligence. It never was. It was always just the next action you chose to take or decided to delay. History does not remember the people who understood the game best. It remembers the people who played it. Fortune belongs to the bold.